All right, everyone. A number of Democratic governors met with Joe Biden the other day, and they came out later and they gave a little presser and said, don't worry, he's cognitively totally fine. We're sure that he can govern and everything is perfectly, it's hunky-dory. Don't worry about it too much. Don't believe what you saw during the debate. Just fucking listen to us. This is a massive problem. First and foremost, you have a meeting with the governors just to sort of get them out there to prove that you are cognitively normal. The fact that you have to do that is rather telling, is it not? That's number one. Number two, it's strictly partisan. I mean, imagine he had met with Republican governors. I guess Rick Scott would probably say he's fine since he has TDS. Other than that, I think you can forget about it. The interpretation is entirely partisan, therefore, so it's not really helping anything. The third problem is nobody really believes it because they saw the presidential debate and they've seen a number of other things prior to that. I've been telling people now for years that Joe Biden has dementia and is in steep cognitive decline. It seems like several million voters have just come around to the realization that people like myself were talking about for an extended period of time against their will. They had cognitive dissonance. They didn't want to believe it. Now, you look at polling, apparently they do. The other problem is this politically helpful? No. That's the long and short answer. The answer is simply no. It's not going to be helpful. People are going to make their decisions about Joe Biden. They're not going to listen to some random Democratic governor who spews off about how Joe Biden is perfectly fine if they've watched the debate. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know what exactly politically what was hoped to be accomplished by this. I guess basically just a generic wagon circling. Well, don't worry, Joe is perfectly fine. No, he's not fine. And you're not fine politically. That's the bigger problem. The bigger problem, and probably the reason they did this, is not really for Joe Biden at all. It's for the Democratic Party as a function in general. They're terrified right now, and there's plenty of legacy media articles talking about this, by the way. That's in the legacy media. They are terrified that the hesitance of voters to support Joe Biden, who has collapsed in the polls over the last few days, is going to start trickling down ballot. So far, they've managed to stem the hemorrhage, so to speak. They've managed to stanch the bleeding. Joe Biden was already unpopular before the debate, but it didn't really trickle down ballot. They were looking at a relatively favorable House map. They were looking at a somewhat unfavorable Senate map, but something, it's not going to be catastrophic. We're not going to lose like 10 Senate seats or something like that. We'll maintain. Now, Trump probably gets reelected. They were hoping, of course, that he wouldn't be. Now it looks almost inevitable. They were hoping to break even in the Senate or something like that, and then take the House. Narrowly, albeit, but take the House. So they're looking down ballot at a relatively favorable situation. They're not looking at an out-and-out wash. Now they are, though, because the damage is beginning to trickle down. Well, if you're a Democratic governor seeking re-election, you don't want that damage to trickle down. So you either stand by your man, which is what they, to a person, have now done, or you abandon him. None of them have so far. We've got several House members among the Democrats that are calling for Biden to step aside. Biden has stubbornly resisted this and said, nope, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be your nominee, and I intend to win it too. You're not going to win the general election, but yeah, I mean, you've won the nomination. There's nobody against you. I mean, your token opponent was fucking Marianne Williamson, the Crystal Grandma, who, by the way, still has me blocked, I think, on Twitter, which is absolutely hysterical. Yeah, she's not the sort of person who deals with criticism very well. Another disqualifying aspect of her potential presidency. These governors are pretending that everything is okay. Behind the scenes, though, when they're behind closed doors and Biden's not there, and there's no cameras there or anything like that, I guarantee they're having a fucking nervous breakdown. Oh, these people are so fucking pissed and they're so fucking scared. They know if Biden goes into a death spiral, like a latter-day Bush style or Nixon style death spiral, it is going to hammer the down ballot. It's going to hammer governors, senators, congressmen, mayors, all of that. That's what they're worried about. You think these people are worried about Joe Biden losing? No, I mean, if Trump gets reelected, they're just going to obstruct him anyway. So as long as they take one of the houses of Congress, everything would be hunky-dory. They're afraid they're not going to be able to do that. They're afraid that the damage is so severe that Biden damage is going to trickle down the ballot. That is exactly what they're worried about. That's why they went to this meeting. Probably when they went there, they said, Mr. Biden, I support you. Are you sure you want to do this? Because we're not so sure. And Biden said, come on, man, 82 million votes and 10 scoops of ice cream. Said, oh, phew, thank God, he's still the same normal, crazy, decrepit old fool he was before. He made a coherent sentence, kind of. Well, that counts. That's good enough. That's basically the litmus test, I guess, for being having access to the nuclear codes, by the way. I think there should probably be a more binding cognitive test for people in significant manners of power. I think that's probably a good idea, although it's never going to be included in our law, so it doesn't really matter. Imagine that you applied it to Congress. Hell, Mitch McConnell would be out, Nancy Pelosi would be out, half of Congress would be out, actually. Be a fairly desperate situation for the Uniparty. Now, these governors are just making believe. They're trying to circle wagons to assure the public that Joe Biden is cognitively normal, but everyone knows that that's not the case. This is a desperate, last gasp sort of move. It's almost a Hail Mary when you think about it. We just have a bunch of Democratic governors coincidentally meeting with Joe Biden right after the entire nation is shocked by his performance. This is a coincidence, by the way. You're not supposed to believe that these two are even connected. But then they come out anyway inexplicably and assure you that everything is okay. Now, I think they're trying to assure Democrats they still have a fucking chance at this point, and it's the down ballot they're worried about. These people are tossing Joe under the bus, and they're only worrying about saving their own skins, in other words. That's about all. Peace out.